Right now, let's bring in Prudence Johnson here with a word about roads.
It's time to get going. We don't want to be late. Better make it the Interstate. Hi, this is Prudence Johnson for your National Interstate System. Believe me, when you need to get somewhere fast by car, there's no better way than the quick, efficient National Interstate System. But that doesn't mean we're perfect. At Interstate, we depend on you, the consumer, to let us know how we can improve. Need an exit ramp closer to your house? Need a closer entrance ramp? Or is the freeway too close to your house? Want it moved a few miles east of there? Let us know, because we're the can-do people. Just call your local National Interstate representative. He's in the yellow pages under roads. So when it's time to travel a long, long way by car, enjoy your journey and remember who we are. If you have any problems, be sure to let us know. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
The National Interstate System. Thank you, Prudence. Mr. Vern Sutton with us on tonight's tribute to Mr. Greg Brown. Glad that Vern could be with us, taking time out from rehearsals over a couple blocks away of the new Dominic Argento opera, which opens 2 weeks from tomorrow, two weeks from yesterday, at the Ordway Theater. In his spare time, when he's not hanging around with us, is Dr. Vern Sutton, teaches music at the University of Minnesota, music history and music appreciation.
Music appreciation, yes.
And has written a scholarly article about Greg Brown's...
That's true, for the Journal of Current Folk Musicology.
Something I've always been interested in his music is that there seems to me to be a kind of a freedom in the relationship between the words and the music in Greg's songs that is unusual in country music. He seems to set up a strong beat in his songs, but then the words kind of flow around it.
That's right.
In an unusual, a metrically unusual way.
He does employ traditional meters. Interestingly enough, he frequently uses the triple meter for nostalgic songs. Songs about Iowa or his family are frequently in 3. And he uses the quadruple meter usually for songs that are about tradition, or even songs that are about routineness or boredom. But you're right, he does set up patterns, and then frequently the demands of the text almost require polyrhythmic effect, in that they must sometimes go beyond the phrase structure that he sets up in the accompaniment. This has a lot to do with his use of irregular lengths of phrases also. He loves to set up the pattern of 4, and then will use a melodic phrase pattern that goes with his text that is not 4 bars. It will be 5, so it has to hang over. Or it will be cut short in 3. He can use a very traditional 4-bar phrase, for instance, in a song that's supposed to sound traditional, like Grand Junction, which is a railroad song, or imitation of a railroad song, all regular phrases just chugging along like a railroad. But in a song like Out in the Country, there's not a regular phrase in that whole song. He sets up a pattern that you think it's going to be 4 bars, and it turns out to be 3 bars, first of all, and then there's another 3 bars, so you get 6 bars, and you think, what is this? And it's supposed to add up. You're supposed to add up to 16 bars. It never does in that whole song. 15 it does. Sometimes it adds up to 17. There are even phrases of 7.5 measures in that song.
So I'm glad that I was right then.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It goes along with that melodic style, which he writes as he likes the declamation, parlando, recitative style, where you have a lot of repeated notes. But he also likes to use, and I think of a song like Daughters, for instance, which has irregular phrases in it, but doesn't use that style of melody. In fact, it is a very curved shaping melody using lots of scalar and intervallic patterns that he doesn't usually use in his other songs. It's a distinctive song, I think, in the Brown canon because it does have this shape, but also I think it is a wonderfully wholesome and loving and healthy Freudian paean of Augenmusik to the females who inspired it.
That's a good and interesting point, one we probably won't pursue any longer right here on our show, but people certainly can listen to that song for themselves and talk it over at home in private. How would you analyze this song that you're about to do?
Well, he likes to use traditional harmonies frequently, but he also spices those up. One of his favorite devices is chromaticism that, well, we heard in Mississippi Serenade, the second half of the A section and the bridge of that has some wonderful kind of Hoagie Carmichael chromaticism, not Wagnerian at all. He borrows them from jazz. He also likes some modal progressions that he borrows from folk songs, such as in Who'da Thunk It, for instance. The main motive of Who'da Thunk It is a modal progression. But his favorite device is the tonic pedal point, which he juxtaposes with the dominant harmonies frequently.
I wonder if he's aware of that himself.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is, because he uses them almost symbolically. The tonic pedal point, for instance, in a song like Out in the Country, it rambles around all over the country just like the gravel roads do. It rambles harmonically, but always there's that tonic pedal point, which is his Iowa roots. No matter where he goes, Greenwich Village, Minnesota, where there's still that Iowa pedal point always there.
Well, that's good.
In a song like Sick Kids, for instance, it's the dependability, that steadiness and security of the parent. So there is the tonic pedal point. And in a song like King Corn, for instance, it's an interesting song. I'm sure it must bear some resemblance to his Greenwich Village period. It's an interesting combination of a medieval folk song, a children's nonsense song, and an Indian raga. The bending of the guitar tones in that, plus the sort of beating that he does on the guitar, which sounds like a tabla, and that drone, that pedal point becomes like a raga drone. It's a very interesting, eclectic combination.
Well,
the song that we thought we would work on is his use of traditional patterns, the way he uses traditional patterns to get a completely untraditional message across.
This one coming up right here.
Yes, he does. For instance, he can write a Jimmie Rogers song.
Yes.
Without ever imitating a Jimmie Rogers song. I mean, he can, an homage to Jimmie Rogers, for instance. And he can write something like King Corn, which is about a traditional thing like corn.
How about something like based on square dance, too?
Square dancing, certainly. Four wet pigs.
This one right here. You folks are
uses
probably thinking,
square dance.
This guy knows a lot about music, but can he sing?
This is a square dance song, right? You're absolutely right. He takes this square dance song, it's a fiddle tune, and the jargon of a square dance call, it's sort of nonsense, but he writes about a traditional topic like pigs for Iowa, and yet gives it a message which is almost vegetarian in its empathy.
Professor, here he is with Butch Thompson at the piano, 4 Wet Pigs, Opus 6 by Greg Brown.
Song about 4 wet pigs. Here's a little song about 4 wet pigs. 2 are little and 2 are big. They're all dancing at the mud time jig. The 2 that are little as an ear of corn. The 2 that are bigger than a barn. Bigger than a barn, taller than a tree. Away they go to the factory. Cut them into bacon, slice them into ham, chop them into hot dogs, squeeze them into Spam. Throw their little eyes out in the rain. Throw their little eyes out in the rain. Throw their beady little piggy eyes out in the rain. You pickle their feet and pickle their brain. Here's a little song about 2 wet pigs standing at the slop trough, smoking their seeds, wishing to God they'd never get big.